Hello, good evening, and welcome to an impromptu Gooner gathering stream. It's what we do best, in all fairness. It's GoonerLeeMeads, Lee Meadows, joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment today. Hello, PoshBertie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm looking forward to this video. I'm over here, you're over there. Hetty's over here. Hello.
Running by the cat, it's what everyone wants.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to the video today. How are you today?
Do you know what? Excuse me for looking a little bit like Shane McMahon after a 2 minutes into a match. Hello, Stacey. I had a feeling she might join us in the chat because I've just messaged her. But but I did a little run earlier on, and I'm not feeling as young as I used to be, in all fairness. But there you go.
You're about a year. You're about a year younger than me. A year younger than me.
That's right.
I'm 53, and you know, I certainly feel it.
Enough about that. Compliments will get you everywhere, right? But let's get into while we're here. Is there anything now I need to say? No, because you've dealt with them. Right. Let's jump into where we started yesterday's stream, if you like, with the sad news of Julian Timber. As you know, yesterday I was very, very cautious in what I was saying because nothing was confirmed by the club, was it? Situation somewhat changed, although maybe a little bit more positive than maybe we thought it might have been. If I explain what I mean. So the club have confirmed, yes, indeed, he's a member of the ACL club. It's it's a common thing in Arsenal Football Club right now. Lee, your sound's very up and down.
No, that ups and downs belongs to Simon Miller.
Why?
I don't know why. Why is your sound going up and down?
I don't know. I couldn't possibly say. But I can't do anything about that right now. I'm on a live broadcast, Stacey. Do you mind? I'll carry on if you don't mind. So we discussed how Timber had the injury, and then he was assessed during the half time, and then he went back out, and then 5 minutes later, unfortunately, the worst happened, right?
Yeah.
Little bit more information came about from that today. Did you see what I sent on the group chat today?
It is confirmed to be an ACL injury, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Stacey. All right, mate. So basically, they're saying all the signs from the halftime were that he was actually okay to go. It's really unfortunate that
didn't seem like it.
Well, no, I know this is the argument we had yesterday, and that's what made for our Spacey stream. Can we handle the Latino heat? I'm not sure if we can. I appreciated the Eddie Guerrero picture, by the way. Thank you for that.
Of course.
But being serious for a minute, so he was saying he didn't feel pain as such, which is odd for this sort of injury, and of course, it may have led on to it as that incident. Well, I kind of described as almost like a separate incident in the second half where he went down and that wiped him out for the game, right? They're saying that this is the official lines out the club saying that they did their diligence, they did their work, and it's a little bit unfortunate what's happened, but they're saying that unusually for this sort of injury, this is what makes it kind of different to the other ACLs that I've sort of experienced recently. He's actually been walking around today. I think he's due to have surgery on the injury, which, I mean, it's still gonna be a fair bit of rehab time. I mean, they're probably talking about 6 months or something.
Yeah.
Again,
at best.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna put an absolute timestamp on it because I'm not a doctor. It's not my job. But it does seem, although it's a severe kind of injury, it might be somewhat better than it could have been You know what I mean? It's like best of a bad situation, if you like.
I don't know. I've no idea what's going to happen, because when it comes to an ACL, 6 to 7 months is, I would say, the best case scenario, unfortunately. But all in all, I think you can't. He couldn't have got off. You shouldn't have allowed him to resume in the second half, because it only made his injury worse. It went from a knock to an ACL, and I think he should have came off in the second half. And whoever it was that made that decision, it was the wrong call.
Again, I should point out, neither of us are medical experts, right? Yeah. And obviously you'll have your view on it. We spoke quite at length about this one yesterday. I'll have my view on it, and you're going to have your view on it, and that's what makes our sort of line up quite interesting. Because if we agreed on everything, boys and girls, it'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? But is what it is. I don't think Mikel Arteta has ruled anything out in terms of the transfer market today. Obviously, he's not going to give out names saying we're going to go for this player, that player, because that's not professional. That's not what he'll do. But one player that certainly would fill that position at left back where Timber's been playing is Zinchenko. And he, amongst other players, now I don't have all the details because I haven't seen a team sheet as such, and I'm literally talking about this through a tweet that I've seen from Kaya Kanyak off Twitter, and it is saying that Arsenal played Luton Town today in a behind-the-scenes friendly at the Arsenal training ground. Just to enforce, obviously, Arsenal are playing Crystal Palace on Monday night.
Yep.
And Luton Town's game, I think they were due to play Burnley this weekend, but that was called off as postponed because of the development works going on at Kenilworth Road. So they had a free weekend. I think Arsenal have used it for a number of reasons, getting players back to fitness, giving certain players game time. So we just spoke Zinchenko, obviously he's coming back after his, double injury, if you like. He had one at the end of last season, and he came into the pre-season with another separate one. Interestingly, the new goalkeeper had 60 minutes, I believe. Raya makes his unofficial debut today. Miss Melina, welcome. Hello, and welcome into our chat. It's nice to see you there. So, who else? Reece Nelson, I believe, made his comeback today as well. Any comments on these players coming back after bit of almost a step up, maybe from training?
It's encouraging to see some of these players come back, the likes of Zinchenko and Nelson, who was Nelson injured? I can't really remember, but
he got injured on the pre-season tour, just before the pre-season tour, didn't he?
But it's good to see him and Zinchenko back as well, and good to see Raya starting in goal and keeping a clean sheet, even if it was a friendly behind closed doors. Also, Trossard getting 2 goals, stealing the show. Funny that, almost if he should be starting or something. But again, good to see that happening. And
very important player in the first team who's been making difference in the squad. I won't dispute that. Just to conclude what Posh has just said, double for Trossard. Saka was on the score sheet as well. So I can't tell you assists or anything like that because I do not have that information. But I thought it was good to come on and say what's been going on today. Looking back on something that we spoke about yesterday, there was a bit of speculation, wasn't there? The Saudi League is something that is very much a popular subject amongst a lot of Premier League players and others of late. And because Gabriel was left out of the first team against Forest on Saturday, a lot of press speculation saying, he might be going, hello, Niall Kane, off to the Saudi League.
Mm.
Arteta said, no, that's not going to happen. He's pretty much ruled that out in the press conference today.
Mm.
And your response to that, I presume, would be very positive.
Absolutely. I personally didn't see anything in this rumor and innuendo, as they say, but I couldn't see Gabriel going to Saudi Arabia. I couldn't see him leaving full stop. But it's good. It's good to get that confirmation, and good to see that he is gonna stay with us. Even if a club put in £100 million, I wouldn't. I mean, providing we get an absolute world-class centre-back, one of the best centre-backs ever, in replacing him, I wouldn't get rid of him. He is a very... him and Saliba are a very good partnership in defence, and long may it continue, because I think that they're hopefully going to be a defensive... They're going to be the rock in defence, if you smell what they're cooking, and hopefully we will be cooking with that defence.
Thank you very much. There's another wrestling reference, which I appreciate. And thank you very much for keeping our gimmick very much alive. So let's talk about some players that have been very much on the periphery. That was a long word for me, wasn't it? I'll have a lie down after that, of the first team squad. So let's talk about Nuno Tavares, shall we? Left back, who's not even seen a minute of action, certainly in front of cameras that I've seen since pre-season started. Obviously, nowhere near our first team picture currently.
Yeah.
Being linked to 2 Premier League clubs that I've seen, West Ham and Nottingham Forest. Now, I don't know if he'll come in the same sort of package deal that you were trying to get rid of Rob Holding with yesterday. But
no, Tavares is worth slightly more. He's worth 3 packets of cheese and onion, I'd say.
Okay, so that's an upgrade.
That's an upgrade
on the Frazzles, yes.
Well, Frazzles is certainly a nice flavour with bacon. Can we just talk about the money, please?
Of course you can. Yeah, I'm just going to see how long it would take before you broke on me.
Oh, I can talk about my favourite crisps for another video, but that's for another stream.
Probably do that on Twitch, yeah. Crisp tasting stream coming up on Gooner Gathering on Twitch.
Do not tempt me. Listen, I can do a cooking stream if you want, but I think some other people have done that.
I'd love to see Posh go cooking. If you want to see Posh go cooking, everyone in the chat,
exactly.
Let me know.
I can show you how to make a Rustler's burger. It's going to be lovely.
It's going to be great.
Oh,
all right. Let's get back on track, shall we? Let's get back on track. You were talking about a fee. Have you seen a fee talked about for Nuno Tavares? And
30 million, wasn't it? Which I think is a bit overpriced for Tavares. But
did you say 30 or 13?
3-0.
3. Oh, 3. Okay. Well, 3-0. Wow,
yeah.
that's a lot of money for a guy who, I don't know. I kind of see him more as, when he played for Arsenal, a little bit like that. Oh goodness me, what was his name? The Brazilian left back who managed to sort of semi-impress going forward.
Not Denilson. He was a midfielder.
No. Oh, geez, what was his name now? Oh, we'll have to come back to his name.
No, he wasn't a left back.
No, he was a striker.
No,
beast in Barcelona. Oh, never mind. But you know who I'm talking about. It's the one that, impressed going forward, but couldn't defend for toffee. It will go down as one of Arsenal's worst ever signings.
Andre Santos.
Santos, that's the fella.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That would have bothered me all this string,
There you go.
But no, because I remember he scored against Man United. I certainly remember that, and I certainly remember him going forward and doing some good things up that end of the field. But as a defender, perhaps not so much. Nothing to add.
No, quite frankly, I'd like to forget about Andre Santos's time at Arsenal, and Tavares though, yeah, he had that good moment, and I'm pleased that he did that. But I've got nothing much to add on Tavares. He hasn't exactly been the most prolific of signings that Mikel signed for us. It's fair to say. Yeah, he wasn't. I'm not exactly his biggest fan. Put it that way.
No. Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll be interested. I mean, it's looking like there may be some departures soon. We would hope so, to sort of somewhat balance books a little bit, and then maybe we'll go back in for some more players. Potentially, we spoke about potential ins yesterday. If you hadn't seen that video, go back and check it out. How about another one that you're going to be a massive fan of? The goalkeeper that's very much forgotten until he sort of popped up randomly on the US tour. Runnison, remember him?
Oh, the glory days of 2021 Arsenal.
Oh, it was a good time.
Late 2020 to 2021 Arsenal. Oh, chef's kiss. What a time. What a time.
Right. So
what about Runnison?
A very much an in-the-know guy on Twitter is Kane Canyon. I mentioned him just a moment ago. He is talking about him, Runnison, going off to Cardiff on loan. Now, I would say a loan deal probably more likely going ahead to somebody else rather than a full-time move, because he's not really had a lot of first-team football. And if someone's in absolute desperate need of a goalkeeper, well, we got just the fella for you. Come on down.
Are you absolutely desperate for any keeper? Here you go.
Absolutely. I mean, it's look, I don't know what Cardiff's situation is. All I know is I know they've got Ramsey back in their side at the moment. I didn't see their game over the weekend, so I don't know what sort of juggler they've got in goal. But I mean, if they're after Runnison,
if they're after Runnison, then they must have no goalkeeper at all. They probably played an outfield player in goal if they have to sign Runnison. I mean,
oh dear, we're going controversial here tonight, mate. I'm not sure the people are going to like it.
I've seen too much of Runnison to know already that he cannot play for Arsenal again. No, it is going to be a loan deal because nobody wants to buy him permanently. But yeah, no, I hope he does well there, and I hope he goes there and he does well. I hope he does that, obviously.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you something else. We'll bring into the conversation. It's looking back at some glory days gone by, shall we? Let's talk about Theo Walcott, shall we? I'll get to that in a minute. I'll bring that back up in a second. Okay. Right. So Theo Walcott has announced his retirement today. Obviously, he was a key member of Arsenal's squad under Walcott. Under Walcott. Listen to me. Under Wenger. Back in the day, played in FA Cup finals, played in a lot of Premier League games, even got called up for Sven-Goran Eriksson's England squad at about 14 years old. Your overriding memories on Theo Walcott, please.
I thought well, one of my favourite memories of Walcott was during a game against Tottenham where he got severely injured. The injury wasn't my favourite thing, obviously, but what was when he was on the stretcher, got up, did this to the Tottenham.
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Absolute legend. No, Theo Walcott, I thought was a very decent player for us, and obviously, I quite liked him. Yeah. And
scored a lot of goals for Arsenal, didn't he, mate?
He did. But what I'm thinking of him now is when he scored for Southampton against us when we were bottling the league. That's what I can think of. He killed our title. Yeah, well done, Theo. But obviously, Theo Walcott scored a lot of goals for us.
Definitely. I certainly remember him particularly for that game where he absolutely tormented Newcastle United when we beat them 7-3.
The 7th, there you go. That season alone, he was very good that season. The 2012-13, I remember that.
So I want to wish Theo all the best. I don't know what his plans are to do next. He seems a jolly nice guy, and I would imagine he'd make a really decent pundit or something like that. Yeah. I'm not so sure he'd have the requirements perhaps to go on the management front. I think he's probably too nice, honestly.
You can't see him returning to Arsenal as a coach like Jack Wilshere and Cazorla.
I'll never rule anything out, mate. I'll never rule anything out. But it's like I think Theo's a far too nice a guy if you like. For example, I looked back on an old video today. It just sort of popped up on my YouTube feed, as you do. I saw an old clip of Arteta playing for Everton against Arsenal, right? It reminded me that Arteta had a little bit of edge on him, and he gave one of our players a bit of a nasty little elbow. He had a little bit of a spark in that midfield. I'm not sure Theo had that. I'm thinking, you mentioned Jack Wilshere. He definitely had that fight, that character in him. As a manager, as a coach, it's almost, I won't say it's exactly what you want as a coach, but understand what I mean. He certainly had the fight in him. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what he had. Do I remember what? Yeah, the Walcott goal when
against Blackburn.
Blackburn when the ball ripped through the net. Was that the game when we were down to 10 men at Ewood Park?
Was that the one where we lost like 4-2 or 4-3? I can't really.
No. I think we won that. I think we won.
Jovino scored that match. I remember that one.
No, this is way back then, mate, with Walcott.
Oh, okay, yeah. He definitely scored goals against those kind of teams.
Obviously, finished off his career.
You were right, by the way. He says it was.
Yes. God, I tell you what, I've not got a bad.
You had to dig deep in the memory banks there, didn't you?
It's all in there. I mean, it might be a little bit scrambled every now and then, but it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah, a lot of dust.
Dust. Anyone? Dust.
Dust. Oh, brilliant! Okay, Marjorie, what have you got? What have you got next on the agenda then?
Okay, big up the Oregon Goons. I believe he is a friend of TJ Warren. I think. I would imagine that would make a lot of sense. So, good evening to you. Right, let's pop back up the chat, shall we? And let's talk about Arsenal since 1987, saying about Saka playing in the game today. And he says, I can't believe Saka played today in a behind the closed doors friendly against Luton. What would have happened if Saka picked up an injury in that game? No need for him to play. Isn't it just like,
you know?
Yeah, okay. But isn't it just like a training session?
Yeah, I understand. But when you've got players, we've had so many players injured in the past few months recently. It is a bit of a risk, though, especially when ACL. It's ACL season at the moment.
Oh dear. But no, you're right. Yes, I thought I recognised your name. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. But one thing I didn't break down when I spoke about it, it wasn't your typical 90-minute game. I should have probably pointed that out. My understanding is they did sort of 3 lots of 30 minutes. So they would have had certain play. So I would have think they would have had, it would be very much like I won't say a non-contact kind of day, but here we go. I think we see the I don't want to say agenda, but the Arteta doesn't know how to rest Saka. Arteta doesn't want to take off Timber. Arteta doesn't want to do this, that, or the other. And
it wasn't Arteta's fault. This is my opinion. It wasn't solely Arteta's fault regarding Timber. It was down to the person in the medical team who said, "Yeah, he looks all right. Put him back on."
Yeah. Okay. Well, Oregon Goon says he's got no faith in the bench. Well, perhaps one that
when you got Carl Hine on the bench, you know, I do see your.
Putting the reserve goalkeeper at right wing. That's almost as bizarre as putting David James up front back in the day.
Putting Partey at right back.
Exactly. Well, one of them options for the bench who did play today was Reece Nelson, and I, for one, quite excited to see him back in the action because I'm a big fan of the lad, someone who's a little bit more experienced as well, and maybe when the time is right to rest Saka, perhaps that is the role that maybe Reece Nelson will fulfill. He put all for Aubameyang at left wing back. Yeah. As Posh said before, good times back in the day, eh? God, aren't we glad we just moved on a little bit further away from them days, eh?
For more reasons than one. But anyway, let's move on.
Shall we carry on?
Yeah.
Where should we go? where should we go next? Shall we talk about a former Arsenal academy player who is about to make it big in the Dutch league, and I'm so excited for it. Chuba Akpom has made the move to Middlesbrough, from Middlesbrough, I should say, to Ajax, and he's taken on the number 10 shirt as well. A guy who came through the Arsenal academy. He's obviously been playing first team football up at Borough. He's at a decent sort of age as well. I think he's at sort of mid-20s now. And what an opportunity for Chuba at this stage of his career to tear it up in Holland. What do you think?
It's certainly a surprising signing. And I'll be honest, we didn't see much of him at Arsenal. I don't think did he play for the first team at all?
Not a lot.
Apart from in friendlies. Maybe he came off the bench in a Carabao Cup game.
Competitions, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see much of him. But so it's a difficult one to judge. I don't know how well he did at Middlesbrough. But if Ajax are seeing something in him and they know a good young player when they see one, they've got a lot of good players in the team back in the day when Ten Hag was their manager. So when they recognize a young player, they will go and sign them. And yeah, I'm pleased for him. I hope he does well in Holland.
Fair enough. The other two things we kind of spoke about before going on there are kind of connected, aren't they? We'll get back to it in a second. I think we're referring to Aubameyang. Who never played him straight up the middle. Mate, saw no sense in that. Big up TJ. Big up True Gooner. Yeah, so it's good to see you all here. Look, all this lovely audience in with us today, mate. It's nice to see. Aren't you glad we decided to come on?
Absolutely. This definitely wasn't impromptu in the slightest. We're more professional than that.
From the heart, some of our best stuff is impromptu. And if you're enjoying what we are actually doing, guys, please make sure you're hitting that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed, as we are well on the march to 250 subscribers now, boys and girls. Isn't that exciting?
Can we do it by the end of the month?
I would love to see it. So, guys, if you could share it to your friends, we keep on doing this for a bit of a laugh. We never take each other seriously, as you guys know. We do report the serious stuff when it's needed to, but I think more important than anything else, we have a good laugh about it, don't we, mate? So, as True Gooners, give him Craig a big up in the chat. Let's sort of end this with. You haven't told me how much of the game you would have seen, the England semi-final World Cup for the ladies. So, did you see enough of it?
When I'm not busy, my sleeping pattern is completely nocturnal. It's been like that since the very first lockdown in 2020.
I hear you.
So there are times where I don't wake up until 12 in the afternoon, and yesterday was one of those days. So I managed to catch up on it when it was 1-1, and I just about caught Lauren Hemp's lovely goal to put England 2-1 up. So I saw the good stuff.
Absolutely. I want to say big up to Matt Roberts for covering the match earlier on today on the earlier video that went up at 1 o'clock. If you haven't seen that, he summarised the England game. He also summed up the other game involving Spain and Sweden. God, I got my facts right. Thank God for that. But one thing that Matt never spoke about, and I do want to make sure we do mention her, is Mary Epps, the goalkeeper, who's been phenomenal all the tournament and was one of the standout players in yesterday's game. I'm not going to put Posh on the spot here because it's not fair, but there were at least 2-3 outstanding saves during the game, which kept England in the game. And I want to say good luck to the girls in the final on Sunday. I mean, England in a World Cup final. This is incredible. After the achievement of winning the Euros.
Happening in cricket.
There you go. I mean, they won the
first
time
time
the
since 2019. England are in a World Cup final, not 1966. I have you know, our cricket team won a World Cup.
Thank you very much for that, the posh man himself. Of course, he's going to bring out the cricket gimmick. Of course, he is. But
it's not a gimmick.
It's a gimmick. But so we're wishing him best for the final. Obviously, I don't know how we'll cover it. We'll definitely be covering it over the weekend. If nothing else, I'm sure we'll talk about it on Monday's stream when we cover the Crystal Palace game. But we'll see how it goes on that one. The last point that I want to talk about is something that ESPN. Yes,
we haven't talked about Tierney yet, I don't think.
You're right. Can I carry on with?
Yes, go on. We'll save the Tierney for last.
Save that.
Save the best for last because it's Tierney and he's a good left back.
Anyway, thank you very much for reminding me. Cheers, mate. So, something that ESPN put out on Twitter today, and it's something that you particularly wanted to talk about, is that if Gareth Southgate decides to give up the England manager's position, the FA are seriously considering Serena Wigman for the position as full-time manager. Now, this will be absolutely groundbreaking. I'd like to know your thoughts on it, mate.
So I am of the belief that if Gareth Southgate doesn't win the Euros next year, it's definitely the right time to move on and go for a new manager. I definitely think that because we have got a very good squad, and I do think it is the final or bust, I think, for our team. We've got lots of good... Anyway, but if he does move on and they are considering Serena Wigman to be the next manager, I know it's going to be a controversial issue. I understand that. But you know what? I'm not mad at it. I actually think I'd actually quite like to see it. She has got a proven track record of winning international tournaments. Yes, I know it's with the women and going to, and I'm going to try and not sound, you know what I mean, to go to the other end, if you know what I mean, from women's sport to men's sport. I'm not saying it's a completely different thing, but I don't know. I'm trying not to sound controversial when I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to get cancelled here when I'm trying not to be, if that makes sense.
You're making perfect sense. What I think you mean is that, she's done a fantastic job with Serena. Do you know what? She's only lost one match, as far as I'm aware, and that would have been to Australia in a friendly in this country. Literally a few months ago. That was put to right yesterday in the semi-final. Her record is incredible. She, the Euros, they went the whole tournament with a very talented group of players, by the way, absolutely unchanged through the tournament and picked up the trophy. Do you know when people say if you're old enough, you're good enough, right? In terms of the playing side. I don't think it matters what sort of gender you are. That's what you're trying to make.
She's clearly got the experience in winning international tournaments. I actually think it wouldn't be a bad idea. If anything, I'd encourage it.
And it's something that should be addressed. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm literally picking this off the back of my head. When Duncan Ferguson was laid off from his job in non-league over the summer, I think history was made by a lady who took charge of that side over the summer, like in caretaker charge, and it's something you don't see very often. I think it was Forest Green, if I'm not mistaken. But
and again, something I'll be very careful with. If you know what the chairman of Forest Green Rovers is like, I think it might have been a big PR stunt. I think she wasn't going to take charge of the games, the major games. I think it was a caretaker position, and then they were going to get a permanent manager in.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, that's something I don't know enough about. But what I will say is, it's very much the case of it's very common subject, isn't it? Where you talk about like black managers in the Premier League. You don't see a lot of that sort of thing. And there's no reason for that debate to be widened, is there? In terms of that if there's opportunities and you're qualified enough, all it will take is for one chairman, one chairperson, one football club to make a bold decision, and then others possibly will follow.
Absolutely. And again, I'm actually all for the idea of Serena Wiegman taking a. I know she's not taken charge of a men's team before, but she clearly has the experience of winning stuff. I actually think it's a bold move. I think the FA have to be a bit bold for once in their life and go for this.
Well,
but if it has to be male, I'd go for Eddie Howe as the next manager. But I'd also be up for Serena Wiegman taking charge.
Yeah, I said when the time's when that time comes up, I'm sure we'll have that conversation again. I would think. So as you rightly said, the one thing that we haven't brought up, which came out of the press conference today, was about Kieran Tierney, and now he was very, I won't say involved in the pre-season. He wasn't involved enough in the pre-season for me. He was very much on, as a bit part player, wasn't he? But certainly was involved in the, get the name rightly, Community Shield game at Wembley Stadium. He's certainly been involved in the tours. Clearly, he'd be involved more in the squad now, with Timber being out for long term. But the Arteta saying that, Kieran is very much in my plans going forward, which kind of contradicts the rumours of him going to Real Sociedad, etc.
Well, he says that Kieran Tierney are in his plans. I think what he's trying to say is there'll be an extra seat on the bench that needs some room, so we need him for that. Because I'll be honest, Arteta doesn't want to change his style. He's a very much, and I'm going to say it, an inverted manager. He likes to play inverted fullbacks, and as I say, Tierney is not that player. I can't see him playing that role unless Tierney plays like a normal left back. But I can't see Arteta changing that unless some desperate things happen, or I don't know. But I actually think I think he will get sold by the end of the window, and it's a shame because that's a really good left back we're losing. Whether it's to Spain or whether it's to England, whoever takes him, I think has got themselves an excellent signing. And it's our loss.
I mean, I think the only way he does go personally is if we get somebody else into the first team picture from elsewhere. I mean, clearly Zinchenko will be the one I would think would come in straight away because of the reasons you just mentioned about this inverted stuff, particularly on games where you'd expect us to have a lot more of the possession, but then we will come again. It's like people like we play against the likes of Manchester City, Man United, the better sides, if you like. That would concern me if we sort of empty the defence and overload the midfield when we need to probably defend properly. That would be my worry. And maybe there is a role for the pair of them there still. I hope so, because like you said, I really rate Kieran as well. As a proper left back, he can certainly do the defending bit. Obviously, we're boring Stacey, so she's off to bed. She's not been well, bless her, and we're sending best wishes to you, mate. I know she's going for a bit of a tough time at the moment. So take care, mate. Thank you for joining us. But to be honest, I think that is just about us run through all our run sheet, if you like, for this evening, my friend. Is that right? Anything else you want to say?
Can't think of anything other than come on, England on Sunday, bring it home.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll echo that statement very much. I don't know when I'm going to be around because I've got family business to attend to tomorrow. The other guys have got me on the WhatsApp, so if anything happens, I'm sure they will give me a buzz and pop something on the channel if possible. But if we don't hear from us over the weekend, you'll certainly see myself and PoshBertie on Monday evening for the Crystal Palace game. I would imagine 7:45, probably a decent sort of start time, as long as I've got the kickoff right.
As long as we get the kickoff right, yeah, I'll double check on.
I think it's an 8 o'clock kickoff. So
Yeah,
I'm almost certain of that.
8 p.m.
There we go. So yes, that is when we're definitely going to be back, if not before then. So before we go, PoshBertie, you know the drill. Wait, wrong one.
That's the wrong one. We're playing Gateshead away. Now that you've got that, you had the Ebbsfleet thing on. Just thought.
Okay.
Anyway, not going though. Too far away. You can follow me on Twitter or X at PoshBertie and Instagram at BertieOneless.
Thank you very much. You can find me at GoonerLeeMeads. You can find the channel at Gooner Gathering. And until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.